just to give you a heads up. And we will be sharing it on the Beth Am website if you want to go back and rewatch it. Okay, so tonight it's all about keeping the oil burning. And for those of you that joined us in August, I guess it feels like forever ago, we kicked off a voter engagement campaign, a very successful voter engagement campaign. And so tonight is about recognizing the work. Thank you, Joy. Tonight it's about recognizing the work that we've done in the intervening months and thinking about our path forward as a congregation. We want to start off by sharing a little Hanukkah thought. The Ner Tamid, which means everlasting light. As we enter Hanukkah and approach the end of a tumultuous year, let us renew our commitment to social justice. From the RAC, which is the Religious Action Center, Hanukkah can be a time when we rededicate ourselves to the work of Tikkun Olam, repair of the world. As the Maccabees had the courage to stand up for their beliefs, Hanukkah encourages us to speak out about our values. The rabbis teach us to not only kindle the holiday lights in the privacy of our homes, but also to make known the miracles of Hanukkah by placing our Hanukkah in the window. In turn, not only do we rekindle our personal commitment to social justice, but we also teach others, take action, and advocate for the repair of the world. Just to give you the lay of the land for tonight, we are going to begin by reflecting and celebrating. And then we have several speakers tonight that will talk about ways that you can continue to take action. A few reminders. This is a non-partisan event. It is justice-oriented. We are going to have breakout rooms in a little while. They will be small, share and help each other out. We have some good stuff coming up ahead. And most importantly, please take care of yourself as needed. We do ask that if you need to step away to please mute yourself and turn off your video. And now I'm going to pass this over to Rabbi John.
Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us on this cold December evening. It's always great to be with so many people from Beth Am, so many people that care about this idea of Civic, especially in this season of Hanukkah. I like that Nancy started with this idea of the Ner Tamid. I think one of our challenges is always to bring light into dark places. This is something that we started to do, and Nancy Cavalonis thought it would be really important to do. There's a recognition that there were people that were living on the land that we occupy in California before we were here. And she pulled this really beautiful text from Leviticus. This land shall not be sold permanently because the land is mine, since you are all immigrants and resident settlers according to God. This piece from Leviticus, and put this beautiful little map about some of the first people who were on the land, wherever we live, from San Jose to San Mateo, from East Palo Alto to La Honda, to recognize that there are some tribes that were here before us, and we hold them when we think about them as we fight for justice as well. There's a couple links in here. Nancy C., maybe you can put those links in the chat so people can click on them as well if they're interested. So I just thought that'd be a fitting way to start a little bit of our program.
Thank you, Rabbi John. And now we are going to pass it over to Nancy Fetterman.
Hi, everyone. I get to do the fun part, which is to talk about all our successes. We had set at the end of the summer a goal of sending 5,781 postcards out to low propensity voters of color in some southern states, following the RAC and Reclaim Our Vote. And we totally smashed our goal. I think we actually sent over 33,000. We had some real overachievers in the congregation, and it was wonderful to have so many. The Reclaim Our Vote totally sent 6.4 million postcards out. And the RAC and Reform congregations helped them send over 315,000. We also made calls to low propensity voters in communities of color. Reclaim Our Vote targeted 8 states that were the focus of voter suppression work. Alabama, Arizona, Florida, Georgia, Mississippi, North and South Carolina, and Texas. Through Reclaim Our Vote, we helped make almost 1.4 million phone calls and almost 2.5 million texts. So that was really exciting. And the RAC also had Action Wednesday, where we did other calling and texting. I participated in Colorado, where we phoned and called about defeating Prop 115, which was an abortion ban after 22 weeks. And that was defeated. In Missouri, they made over 2,000 calls to expand Medicaid, which also won the election. Oklahoma, again, to expand Medicaid, they won that as well. And I also made calls to Michigan and Pennsylvania. So the reach through the RAC was very wide across the country. We really got to focus on races that were very important. Locally, we were able to learn about our local elections and feel comfortable in voting. The League of Women Voters presented a wonderful night where they gave us basic information on all the ballot issues. The Industrial Area Foundation and the Silicon Valley Organizing Committee had a night with the state Senate candidates. RAC-CA also had a very informative night about Prop 15 and also did organizing to help pass Prop 17 to help end felony disenfranchisement, and also to defeat Prop 20, which was going to roll back some of the criminal justice reform. So we really were able to live our values and be part of the group where we had all-time highs in voter turnout. I was looking it up yesterday, and nationwide, almost 160 million people voted, which was the highest turnout in over a century. It was over 66% turnout in the country. And RAC contributed that by focusing on 100% voting congregations. So that was pretty cool. Nance?
All right, thank you, Nancy. That was a great update and a recap of all our accomplishments. So next, we are going to go into breakout rooms.
I'm supposed to explain it while you're setting it up.
So Nancy will explain.
Sorry.
While I'm making the breakout room. So take it away, Nancy.
Sorry. Hello again. We decided that it would be great to reflect back on what was the most meaningful part of the participation. So we thought it would give people a chance to see who else is here and talk to fellow congregants, have a better sense of community. So we're going to randomly put you in breakout rooms with a couple other congregants. And I think we've set the time for 7 minutes, which we'll go through quickly. And so we'd like you to talk about what was the most meaningful experience you had to work on promoting democracy this year. And if you have extra time, maybe think about suggestions for the future. So what we'll do is in a few minutes when Nancy's ready, you'll go into the breakout rooms automatically, and you'll be in that room and hopefully introduce yourself to each other and give everybody a chance to share. And then you'll see a little window open that will tell you when you've got about a minute left, and you'll be automatically brought back to us. And then you'll get a chance to share with the whole group and hear what other people thought. So Nancy, you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. I'm going to create the rooms. This is my first time doing this, so let's see how it goes.
Okay, hold on.
Okay. Oh, okay. I see how this works.
Okay, so everybody should see that they're invited to a breakout room.
All right.
So you can click on join the breakout room.
Welcome back, everybody. Hi, Carol.
Hi, everybody. It's nice to be with the group. Diane was like mid-sentence when our group ended, so that happens. Anybody want to share? Anybody have a reflection, something that they were thinking about, something that came up or from their conversation?
Irene had a good story.
Well, I was like Irene's story.
Well, I was calling voters. I was calling very specifically women voters in Michigan who had not returned their absentee ballots 2 weeks before the election through a group called Supermajority. And we were trying to get them to return the absentee ballots that they'd requested. And I discovered a case of voter suppression. I spoke with a woman who had not gotten her absentee ballot, and somebody in her office gave her a website and instructed her that she didn't need a ballot. She could just go put her vote in on this website. And she did not know better. And she went and she saw it was it was like a phishing kind of thing. It looked just like the Secretary of State's website. And she filled out her ballot there and she thought she had voted. And if I had not called her, she would not have realized that that was a voter suppression act. And we were able to record the name of the website and get it shut down. And we were able to get her instructions on what she needed to do to go vote in person.
Wow, that's a very powerful story. Thanks, Irene. Fighting the good fight for everybody. So how important. So I'm interested in, I mean, that was a powerful story, but anybody just reflections more than stories. I mean, interested as much as I appreciate stories. Yeah, Carol, go ahead. Oh, you're muted, Carol. That's the word of 2020, I think, is you're muted.
And I didn't try to, it just came.
I think that's 2 words. Maybe it's two and a half words. You're muted, Carol. Go for it.
I make myself muted. I'm not technology. I think that in my reflection would be much of the people that were in our group. And it was great to be part of a bigger thing and feel like we're making a difference rather than just standing by and thinking, oh my gosh, what can we do? What can we do? But to do it. And it was a great effort being part of the RAC and the Reclaim Our Vote group with Andrea Miller. Is that her name? Right? The whole Reclaim Our Vote group. I mean, plugging in, like you say, we always say, it's better with more. And I think that added to it, that we were part of the RAC, which was then part of the Reclaim Our Vote. So that was good.
Wonderful.
Good choice.
Yeah, anybody else, one or two more reflections about anything that came up in your small group or about how you're feeling? Yeah, Norma. Uh-oh, the word of 2020, Norma. You are muted.
I was telling you that I'm trying to unmute. I am so overloaded with all this that I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I had at least triple pleasure from the efforts. One of the pleasures was about a year ago, nearly a year ago, I heard about Reclaim Our Vote, and I made a point of going on one of Andrea Miller's briefings and getting messages back and forth with her through Chris. And I wanted to adopt them as my baby. I was excited about them from the start. So when I discovered that the RAC had chosen them, that doubled my joy. And then I got my grandsons involved in writing postcards and texting, and of course I also was involved with the DVC, and in fact with Diane we were doing big groups of writers. What Diane, 60-70 people in the summer we started already writing. So I worked on a few campaigns, but the love of my life is Andrea Miller and her campaign. And every week I spend an hour or more on her briefing, listening to her, watching her, and getting excited all over again. And I try to spend a few hours every day doing writing or phone banking. I don't love the phone banking, but no one wants to do it too much. So I feel obliged to keep on with it.
No, thanks for your hard work, Norma.
That's enough said for the time.
Tim, I'm going to give Tim the last word on this section. I think Tim might have written 78,
wow.
70.
No, I was just going to encourage Uriella to tell her story of her daughter-in-law.
Okay, we'll go Tim, then Uriella. I think Tim wrote like 175,000 postcards himself. So.
Well, I wasn't so much. I wrote some, but I felt like I was a name dealer, you know, so a middleman for Reclaim Our Vote in terms of helping people get names and get all set up. And so it was really, really inspiring. All the people who engaged, so many friends in and outside of our community to actually write postcards. I think, you know, I probably distributed since March, you know, well over 25,000. Well, now including this latest Georgia, probably well over 30,000 names. So, and when you look at some of the races come down to just a few votes, we have a California race, it's down to whatever, 100 votes or something like that. And so if you think that even if only 10% of our postcards make a difference, you know, it can make it only 10% actually get people to vote, that could actually make a difference in races. So that's inspiring.
Well, thanks, Tim. It was fun to send people to Tim's house to meet him on his porch during COVID time. It was like, yeah, instead of a Sunnyvale drug deal, it was a Sunnyvale postcard deal or something like that. So.
By the way, I was at the post office the other day and I saw this woman in front of me in line, and she had a huge stack of Reclaim Our Vote postcards, and she was so proudly giving them over the counter. And I was like, and I didn't know who the woman was. And I was like, oh, isn't this great?
That's great. All right, Uriella, and then we'll move on.
You're muted.
Can you hear? You can hear?
There you go. Go ahead, Uriella.
So my daughter-in-law, who is Taiwanese, she lives in Santa Barbara, and she has been very interested in, she's an engineer, and she's brought science projects to schools, about 6 schools where children are less privileged, and paired them up with students from Santa Barbara University to do projects. And so she decided to run for the school board in Santa Barbara. And she was at our house in the middle, and she had gotten kind of, it was tons of work, and she had to get a lot of endorsements. And I brainstormed with her about that. But anyhow, she was halfway thinking of giving up. And I said, you know, whatever you decide, I will back you if you decide to go for it or not. But if this is something that you really want, you know, I'll back you completely. And whether you win or not, you're going to learn a lot from doing this. And I saw that her spirit was raised again, and she went back to it. And the short of the story is she got it. She got on the board. And she didn't get endorsed by the Democratic Party. She didn't even raise as much money as the others, but she got on from the credit of what she did. So I was really, really excited. And on the day of the elections, my granddaughter, her older daughter, wrote me and said, "Yay, Mom won." That was very special.
What a beautiful story. Yeah, like small things in local government and school board and city council, to know that, you know, all of this has domino effects to impact all of us. And I know Charlie's going to speak in a second a little bit about some of the local work we're doing. But don't you think, I mean, what a powerful story. I actually think that Governor Newsom should choose Rabbi Weissman to be the next senator now that Kamala Harris is going to be the vice president. So wouldn't she be a great senator for the state of California? So I think maybe, you know, if you know Governor Newsom, send him an email or text him and have him choose Rabbi Sarah. So, all right. Thanks for sharing, everybody.
Thank you, Rabbi John, for leading that. So next up, we are going to spend some time talking about our dreams for the future. And we are going to start off with Nancy Fetterman, and I'm going to share my screen again, so hang tight. All right, here we go. Take it away, Nancy.
Well, because we all had so much fun and enjoyed the election and didn't want it to be over, it isn't over. We have 2 important elections in Georgia on January 5th. They're runoff elections because no candidate won a majority or 50% of the votes in November. And they're both senators from Georgia, so that's really important. It's unusual to have 2 senator elections from one state at a time. This is because one of them was the normal cycle that the incumbent Republican Senator David Perdue running against the Democratic challenger John Ossoff. The other one is the Democrat Raphael Warnock against the incumbent Republican, who's just the interim Senator Kelly Loeffler, to complete Johnny Isaacson's term. So both of these races are going to be held January 5th. There's still voter registration open until December 7th. So Reclaim Our Vote and other groups have been sending out postcards. And Reclaim Our Vote and the RAC are also going to be doing calling because early voting begins December 14th. So we're still doing our nonpartisan work. As I said, right now, the calls are about voter registration, and they're just moving to get out the vote, encouraging early voting again. Reclaim Our Vote also has just put in a new phone bank system where you can use the computer to call. And if you're still writing postcards, please remember to mail them by December 7th. So Reclaim Our Vote has a number of things going on from the slide. On Mondays and Saturdays, they have their phone bank training and then group phoning. So we'll put out an email after this, as Nancy says in the chat, with all this information. The Religious Action Center is also doing 2 of their famous phone banks on Mondays, December 14th and the 21st, where again, they'll start out with some training and then have the community phoning. And we're going to sponsor, McKelly and I are going to sponsor another Beth Am phone bank on Sunday, December 13th. From 1 to 3. Now, I know there are people who aren't thrilled with phoning, and you can do letter writing through the rack. So what they're doing is they're calling or they're writing to Jewish teens and young adults to get them to vote. So we'll send out the link that's shown on the slide, and you can either request names or you can get a whole kit. If you get a kit, you'll get a guide, a script, envelope stamps, and note paper. And the letters basically share information about the importance of voting and how it's grounded in Jewish values, and specific information on how they can vote early or in person. And the letters need to be completed and mailed before December 14th. So for those of you who couldn't get enough postcards, you can still write. So we're hoping that our great Beth Am group will continue to participate in the phoning. And send us, if you have any questions, send an email to the Civic email, civic@betham.org, and we can answer any questions and get you hooked up with anything. Thanks, Nance.
Thank you, Nancy. Okay, next up we have Charlie, who is going to talk about organizing, which he does so well.
So I want to just give you a quick update on the community organizing efforts and invite you all to get more involved if you like. We've all just talked about all sorts of stuff we're doing at the national level. And what our community organizing effort does is at the local level. And I think it was Tip O'Neill who made the phrase, all politics is local, famous. But it's really true. So there's so much we can accomplish locally. And community organizing is all about building power. And we do that by bringing together large numbers of institutions in an organized way. The IAF has taught me this phrase that power is the combination of organized people and organized money. Today, we have 13 institutions. That's 3 more than we had 2 months ago, that represent 10,000 people in Santa Clara and San Mateo counties. But we need to grow this. Our goal is to get to 20 institutions by the end of 2021, and ultimately 30 institutions representing 50,000 people. You say, why? Is that really necessary? Because elected officials listen to organized people. I was at a meeting about a year ago when we could still go to meetings with the San Jose Director of Health and Human Services. And she came to the meeting late, was reading her cell phone, wasn't paying much attention until one of us told her, by the way, this group of about 5 people represent 10,000 people in Santa Clara and San Mateo counties. And she jumped up out of her seat and immediately started paying attention. Imagine what she would have done if we said we represented 50,000 people. So, as I said, organized power translates to a seat at the table. And when we do it locally, it's a very large seat. So we can have a real impact and get things done, just us few folks, if we can build this power. And that's what we're trying to do. So we're still in startup mode, but we've been working a whole bunch of pandemic issues, such as renter housing. Some of you may have attended the workshop we had about a week ago, and there's a repeat of that this Sunday. Email me if you're interested, in helping tenants understand their rights. We've also been working on other big pandemic issues, such as mental health. Still in the startup phase, trying to figure out how to address that. Also, over the spring and the summer, we had a series of house meetings, which translates to small group meetings all done over Zoom with breakout groups like we just did a few minutes ago. And we had over 500 people in all these combinations of meetings. And we listened to the needs and the concerns of the local residents, and that's how we figure out where to focus. So what are our next steps? We're working on right now what they are, but one example is at the end of January, an awful lot of people are going to fall off a cliff when California's AB 3088 renter protection expires. This again ties into what we've been doing with these seminars, but we're working on trying to figure out how to address that locally, get individual towns and counties to help with that. And our other focus has to be to get these 20 grassroots get to these 20 organizations by the end of 2021. So the three key people in Beth Am who've been really involved are Allison Barnstable, Rabbi John, and myself. And you can contact any of us. And I will note, looking at the screen, that almost everyone on this call has been to one or two of our meetings. And we have a list of over 70 Beth Am folks. So give me a call and help get us more involved. Or help get more involved, excuse me. Back to you, Nancy, or any questions.
Thank you, Charlie. Any questions for Charlie, or we can do them at the end too? Okay. Next up, we are going to hear from Rabbi Sarah, Donovan, and Uriella. So I will turn it over to Rabbi Sarah first.
Thank you. I'll talk very fast and let my colleagues do most of the talking. So we are representing the Racial Equity Justice Committee, which is just recently got started, and we wanted to share one specific program that's going to be starting up hopefully soon, that has to do with the healing from racism, the effects of racism. And also, before I let Donovan and Uriella really explain it, I also want to mention that we're going to have Lindsay Newman come from Bechol Hashon. She's going to speak on Martin Luther King weekend, and she's going to talk about anti-racism work and within the Jewish community. So we're really excited about that. I just found out about 5 minutes ago that she was definitely coming. And we're really excited about this new program that Uriella really dreamed up with Donovan's help. So I'll let you all explain it.
All right. Thank you, Rabbi. I just want to say it's great to be here and hear about all the inspiring work that everybody's doing. And yeah, our committee has a big task, right? We're going to try to not only make Jews of color more comfortable and more welcome at Beth Am, but also to reach out to the outer community too, to create some community and some collaboration with communities that we don't often interact with, maybe from Beth Am, and as well as help people that identify as white Ashkenazi Jews to look at some of the racism that they might have received, socialized to believe in consciously or unconsciously throughout their lives, as many of us have. So I'll let Uriella talk a little bit more about it, but I just want to let you know that we are, part of my job is to create programming at Beth Am. We're thinking about, we're going to be having some screenings of different films and with a discussion. And but if you are connected to a Beth Am group or program that would like to have some kind of programming around DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, anti-racism work, we'd love to partner with you to bring, whether it's discussions or book groups or movie screenings, panels, other kinds of programs. Hopefully a lot of them will be open to the community, but I know that a lot of the good work gets done in pre-existing communities that already have a sense of connectedness to each other. And Tim, who's here on the call, really, has been rooting for that of not trying to just start from scratch, but to work with pre-existing structures and organizations that exist within the Beth Am community. So we'd love to partner with any of you in the programs that you work with. And you'll be hearing more about the programs that we'll be putting on and we hope to see you there. Aurelia, do you want to talk a little bit about the two different arms of gatherings that we're going to be putting on in the new year?
Yeah, sure, Adrian. So basically, I had what we are thinking about is to have a monthly kind of support group for the Jews of the global majority. And let me see, I took some notes. And it's an opportunity for them to connect with and get to know each other and listen to each other's experiences, including how racism has been experienced in their lives. And the other group will be warmly inviting white Ashkenazi Jews to participate also once a month in the same kind of group with each other, opportunity to share about and heal from the racism that was installed on us. None of us asked for it. All of us are good. We are good people. There's a mantra that I've heard is that all people are good. White Jews are people, so white people are good. So it's working from a place that none of us wanted that. And the goal here will be, it's based in listening. Both groups are based in listening and becoming better listeners for each other. And so that we develop good attention to be able to listen also to the stories that people of Jews of color have about the racism and how we can become good allies and also develop the ability to recognize and interrupt racism when we perceive it being acted out. And the third part of that would be where both groups would come together and learn with each other. And I just want to say, we'll learn about our heritages and have bigger lives enriched by the diversity of our mutual Jewish experiences. We can build the community that we hope and dream about for future generations as we do this work on healing from our racism. So we want to invite you to be a part of this exciting process, and let's do it together. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Uriella, and thanks to Donovan and Charlie, Rabbi Weissman. Rabbi Weissman, am I right to think that that lecture is to honor the Axelrod family as well?
Yes, sorry, I didn't mention that. That is our Axelrod lecture.
You grew up with Rabbi Axelrod. That would be super nice. I know he officiated Nancy's wedding, right? Am I right, Nancy? So yeah, so don't bury the headline there. So, and then just as we do with everything else, we really do want to continue to be engaged in different ways. I know many of you have participated in the early learning, our Equal Start initiative, including a big program this Monday night. I'll encourage people to attend a movie, No Small Matter. I would love you to come. Some of you have been involved in the refugee awareness work and in other odds and ends throughout that. And so if you want to work with Beth Am, we want to work with you. It's been amazing to see the leadership of so many people. And one of the nice things is that we have this terrific clergy lay partnership on our social justice works. We would have not sent lawyers to El Paso like Tim if it wasn't for the lay clergy partnership, and we wouldn't be doing the work that all of you do. Julie Sachs-Teller is here. She's the rabbi who runs the RAC California. So Julie, we're just doing a little siyum on some of our civic engagement work and the plethora of postcards and phone calls and our racial inequity and justice work. And so we thought it'd be great if you wanted to give us a minute of Torah and thinking about the work that the Religious Action Center is doing throughout our state.
Sure. First of all, thanks for having me jump in and join you. Nancy called today to think about an update. And I just thought it would be great to see you in person. And I just want to say that was really exciting to come in on Uriella's a description, which I didn't get to hear the entirety of, but sounded so fantastic. And Oriella is my long and old time friend, so I haven't seen you in too long. Let's see, an update. I don't have to tell you, you did a fantastic job of really making a huge contribution to the accomplishments of the RAC nationally in the election. And so thanks for just being terrific stars and for your commitment. And I really just wanted to say, as we look forward, we have something new that we're going to do this year, in part because the civic engagement campaign went so well. And that is to have a national campaign. So because the civic engagement campaign taught us that we can have an impact and that we can bring in both congregations from states that are organized with statewide networks and congregations that aren't organized in that way and have a national impact on something, we're about to launch a research project to look for a national campaign kind of in the same way that we look for that statewide. So if there are one or two among you who are interested in being part of that, let me know. We have people representing California, but if there's somebody who wants to make a case that you should be on that team, please be in touch with me. But we're also going to be launching our statewide research process. And it'll be a little bit different than in past years, but mostly following what we learned, which is we research by meeting with both legislators and potential partners to find something where we can make a contribution, where a Jewish voice matters, where we have excitement, and where we can make a difference in standing in solidarity with vulnerable populations. So that was more than a minute, and I'll stop. I just wanted you to know that's what's coming up, and that if people want to be part of it, you can be in touch with me.
Thanks, Julie. Thanks for so much that you do. I'm with RAC California, bringing justice to our state and bringing Jewish values, the pursuit of caring for the vulnerable in different forms, and so much of what you do there.
It's a privilege.
I know everybody on this call pretty well, which is so special. Even Che Guevara over there with his beard and his hat. So I really like having him in the phone call. Che, how's it going in Cuba? Everything's going okay over there? It's, I think throughout, for everyone who knows, everybody on this call, nobody has worked harder over the last decade and 2 decades registering voters, spreading the word about the importance of voter education, encouraging people to become informed and passionate and educated stewards of democracy than Diane Rolfe. So we will give her the last word this evening. She remains a beacon to all of us. So Diane, how many voters do you think you've registered in the 20 or so years you've been doing this? Do we have a count? You're muted, Diane.
27,500, but it wasn't me. It was all the people I was connected with, and it may go higher, John. And
that's amazing.
Thank you for your very kind words.
What was the first year you coordinated the program at Beth Am?
2004. The year John Kerry ran.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Diane, for all your work. We'll let you close out our session tonight. We're going to send out a survey in the next week or so, just to get some information and feedback for all those who do postcards and phone calls and other parts of civic engagement. So we'll send it to everyone that's participated, but if you could fill that out, that'd be helpful too. So Diane.
Thank you, John. Nancy spoke at the very beginning about the lighting of the oil to kindle the lights of the menorah, the lights of justice and rededication at this time of year. This fall at Beth Am, under the marvelous leadership of Rabbi John, along with Nancy Fetterman, Michaela Hellman-Tincher, Nancy Cavalonis, and hundreds of people at Beth Am, all together. But they sort of lifted the big banner, especially John, the baseball player, big banner. Anyway, we all went out together. And we fought against those who would destroy our democracy. We fought for equality and the right for everyone to have the right to vote, to protect our democracy, expand the franchise. And I look back over all these years and why it's so important to me to be a Jew. It's the only way I could live my life, are the values that motivate us. And the Talmud tells us that we should be not daunted by the enormity of the world's grief and injustice. And we are encouraged to do justly, to love mercy, and we are reminded that one is not obligated to complete the work, but neither are we free to abandon it. And the final call that Beth Am has responded to, that Rabbi John, my dear friends Nancy F., Nancy C., and Michaela for many decades now, have been justice, justice shall you pursue. All of us from all our different work on justice, all this pulls us together. Deuteronomy 16, verse 20. Beth Am reaffirmed this year. And again, I saw it under the leadership of John, Michaela, Nancy F., Nancy C., and all the people, all of us working together. That is many, many hands. All of us standing just like we did at Sinai with our ancestors. And just like the covenant is with us, with each coming generation to be, that we all stand together, we stand for the covenant and for justice and action. And here we did this year together with massive success. 33,000 postcards, letters, whatever. We had the special postcard dealer in Sunnyvale, Tim, and all these movements and people were coming together like a massive web for justice. And it was truly exciting. It was beautiful. And I think this is only going to grow more and more. I remember when Rabbi John came, I thought, wow, finally. And he plays baseball and he's a heavy hitter, yay. And here we are, we can do it. And this brings up, as we look to the future, 2021, this is a time of, we have immense pain, the pandemic, we've barely held on to our democracy, but there's hope. John and I were talking at the small groups, hope, that seems to be the beckoning for all of us here tonight. And we needed to have everyone all together. We can only do it together. And we must bring new people forward, constantly bringing more and more people in and nurturing more and more leaders who will lead when those of us may step back because they want to be with their granddaughters or whatever, and other things would come into their life, that other people come forward. It's how it is. That's how it is in a democracy. So like what ancestors did at Sinai, we will all ask you to please step forward in whatever comes down and what we'll be doing for issues in the coming year. And let us all work together and support each one's goals and programs and special enthusiasms in the area of justice. Together, we can do anything. And you are needed. You are wanted. Let's do it. God bless you all.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful evening. Shabbat Shalom, and a brightly filled Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah. Be bright.
Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach.